Hello, everyone. My name is Quinn. You can find me on Twitter at Orthodox1993. This is my new MMA betting podcast. I am joined by Narocrop. You can find him on Twitter at Narocrop. How you doing, Mike?
What's up, man? What's up, Quinn? Thanks for having me.
I got Notorious Picks on. You can find him on Twitter at Notorious Picks. How you doing, my friend?
What's up, brother? I'm super excited for this card, man. Breaking it down.
Stoked to have you on, man. Stoked to have you on. And last but not least, we got Marathon MMA. You can find him on Twitter at Marathon MMA. What's up, man? How you doing?
Good, man. Happy to be here.
Good, brother. Good. Yeah, this is UFC Vegas 32. It's kind of crazy that we've had 32 fights at the Apex. I mean, 32 events at the Apex, and that's pretty insane to me. It's a damn good card. So we're gonna just jump right into it here. First fight of the night, we have Diana Belbita versus Hannah Goldie. I have no thoughts here. Two very low-level women's MMA fighters. I think Goldie is absolutely atrocious. I don't know why she's even in the UFC. Diana Belbita, she's on a 2-fight losing streak. And I don't know. I don't have any strong opinions here. This is like the one fight that I personally didn't even really look at. So I'm just gonna throw it to you, Mike. What do you think about this fight?
Basically, this is like the low of the low for women's MMA right here. Like, honestly, I would recommend everybody just go to the fucking casino and put it on red or black instead of betting on this fight. Because, I mean, Hannah Goldie, I mean, her strikes are, she looks like she has power, but like she just does not look good. Like striking, her mechanics are not great. Belbita, she's very aggressive, but again, she rushes in the pocket with no defense. Like, she's gonna get cracked possibly. Her fight IQ is absolutely atrocious. Like we saw in the last fight, like she went to the ground and gave the girl the one chance and she armbarred her. Like, the girl's not smart at all. So for me, it's a complete pass, to be honest. I'm going nowhere near this fight.
Okay, Notorious, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna, argue that it is a very fucking low level fight here, But when I was looking at it at first, I didn't have much interest in it, but then, looking at the tape, I think the biggest issue that I have with Bobita, besides her Trevin Giles IQ, I think she has a issue on the ground. I think her submission defense is fucking atrocious. I don't understand why the girl has absolutely no awareness of arm bars at all. Like, it's not the first arm bar she got, finished by. You can look back, even fucking Lipsky finished her with a submission. That's bad, But on the flip side, I think the girl has the size advantage here, coming down from 125. I think she has the experience advantage. I think she's very aggressive. And Goldie, I think that she does have some pop in her shots here and there, but like, she doesn't throw enough. And the optics on the judges, I don't think they look good. She constantly goes backwards. And Belbita, she's very aggressive, so you can give her that, And to me, like, her biggest weaknesses on the ground, I don't really see Goldie taking her down. I think it's going to be on the feet unless Belbita initiates the grappling, which she has in the past, so that could happen. But if it stays on the feet, I think, it's a pretty close fight, and I think her aggression might win her a decision if it goes there. So I do have 1.5 units on this at plus 114. I just don't think that she should be the underdog. It should be pick'em, and that's what it is right now. So I believe I got pretty good value on the bet. And but if it goes to a split decision, I wouldn't be surprised. So there's my take on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you want the dog if it goes to that. So good call. What do you think, Marathon?
Yeah, I think it's just a hard pass for me. I think if you got in with Belbita at plus 160, you're probably pretty happy right now. But if you're not getting decent dog money on her, I wouldn't touch it. But like Notorious said, she should probably be pretty greasy. I don't really know what Hannah Goldie's really good at. At least we know at Belbita she'll go for it, So pretty much a pass for me. But if you got in early, good for you.
All right, we'll move on to the next fight. This is my first bet of the night. We have Sajara Eubanks taking on Elise Reed. So I'll start here. I have Eubanks in a parlay. I definitely laid the juice on her after looking into the fight a little bit more. I know there's some question marks around Eubanks' cardio and her heart. Her record, she's 7-6. But if you actually dig deep into her numbers and her metrics, her striking metrics are pretty elite. So her takedown metric, she's got 4 inch reach advantage here, and she's been fighting pretty much the highest level competition in women's MMA for the past few years. And looking at the tape on Reed, she fought at atom weight. She came up and won the CFC belt at 125. But Sajara would never be able to make 105 in her life. Like there's no way. She's been fighting at 135 for the better part of 2 years. And if you watch Reed, I think she has a pretty big disadvantage on the mat here. I don't like her top game at all. I don't like how she puts herself in really bad positions. She got triangled and armbarred on the regional scene, and she just didn't look like she really knew what to do with it at all. She has some power in her hands, but honestly, like the size advantage here is going to be pretty substantial to me. I think Eubanks gets the takedown and works her from top position, and I do think that she finds her first submission win here. I just think there's levels to this game, and with the size advantage and the experience level, I think that Eubanks is definitely the rightful favorite here. It's kind of hard to trust Reed when she's only had 4 pro fights in her career. So that's just my take on it. I think there's definitely value on Eubanks. I think you could play her by round 1 sub. I think you could play her by inside the distance as well. And I might be on a couple of those props too. I just haven't looked too much into the props yet, but that's what I think. What do you think, Mike?
Similar to you, I taped this pretty good, like with Reed. She's a really aggressive striker. The one thing I noticed is she was actually not too long ago, she was a 105er, so she was an atom weight. She just recently moved up to 115. Now she took this on short notice at 125. And she's fighting a much bigger, much stronger, fighter here that's moving down again from 135. Like, I know people are talking about cardio issues, but I don't think it's that bad with Eubanks. I mean, I think it's a little overblown. Her cardio is not awful. I mean, she's won third rounds in some of the fights that I watched. And to be honest, her record is deceiving. Some of those losses could have easily been wins. She's fought. I mean, the girls she's fought, they're huge 135ers. We're talking about Caitlin Vieira. That's a big 135er.
Yep.
We're talking about Kianzad. That's a big 135er, And now she's fighting this girl that is pretty much clueless on the ground, to be honest. Because when I watched her regional tape, she got put into armbar after armbar after armbar against these low-level fighters, and Eubanks knows what she's doing on the ground. I think she's going to have a very easy time taking this girl down, to be honest. And then once it's down there, I don't know what Reed has for her to defend whatever, Eubanks wants to do. I mean, I'm afraid of the ground and pound, to be honest, but I have Eubanks by submission at plus 500. I think that's a great line.
It's a great line. Yeah.
Basically, that's it. I mean, the difference in size and strength is going to be absolutely astronomical for me in this fight. So,
yep.
And the skill advantage too. To be honest, it's pretty wide here.
I mean, yeah, you can get Eubanks inside the distance at up to plus 170. You can get the under 2.5 at plus 135. I mean, I think those are all decent props. You can get Eubanks round 1 at plus 430.
I mean, honestly, if you're gonna take the under, I wouldn't take the under. I would just take Eubanks inside the distance. I don't see any way Reed is gonna stop Eubanks, to be honest. Yep. So if you're gonna play it that way, then just play Eubanks ITD.
All right, Notorious, you're up. Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna hear any hot takes from me on this fight, but honestly, in women's MMA, I think physicality and size plays a big factor, and this girl, honestly, even if it wasn't Eubanks, I don't really see like too many impressive things about this girl to begin with. And she's going up against a girl that, I mean, the fights against Aspen Ladd, man, those were some good fights. Like it wasn't
Yep.
like, she was getting washed up by like,
That was a
Aspen.
competitive fight.
Yeah, I mean, both of those fights were good fights. Like, I mean, and I do rate Eubanks. I mean, the cardio thing, it really is from the Betch Correia fight, right? Because
2 fights she's gassed out, and that's it.
right, but that one was a really bad one. I
That was
remember
bad, yeah.
she was a big favorite in that one, but like, this is a completely different, opponent, and like, I don't think that Eubanks is, coming in that kind of a condition. I think she's going to be able to, I don't know if she's going to finish. Honestly, it's a complete pass for me. I can't play that money line anywhere, and but I would definitely pick her, and I think she's going to make it look somewhat easy, but I don't know if she'll finish. So that's my prediction.
Cool. All right, Marathon, you're up.
Yeah, I definitely have her in a parlay for 3 units. You guys kind of touched on everything. She's just going to be way bigger, huge grappling edge, and I'm probably even favor her on the feet here. She's just going to be walking the girl down. Sarge does crack with those looping hooks too, so I wouldn't be surprised. Obviously, her easiest path to victory would be the takedowns, but I mean, if she ends up standing with this girl, she probably still wins. And the Eubanks gassing is pretty deceiving because, like you guys said, she's won a lot of third rounds. I think Sparring with Rowdy tweeted that she's won 5 of her last 8 round 3s, and she actually should have 10-8'd Aspen Ladd. That scorecard should have been 10-8. That should have been a draw. That's just my opinion, but Norocop kind of touched on it. She's got put in some really bad spots on the regional tape where if there was a girl as physical as Banks, she would have died. So I've seen her get out of submissions. I've seen her be put on her back. I've seen her back get taken. So Sarge inside the distance plus 180 is probably a good way to get some value out of the fight. But she's not a finisher. I mean, she could finish this girl just based on how undersized this girl's going to be, but I do think she's a safe parlay piece for sure.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on the striking. In 8 UFC fights, Eubanks has only been outlanded at distance 1 time. I mean, that's solid metric numbers for
and
you.
Let's factor in that she's probably going to come in heavy here, which is going to help us.
Yep.
I mean,
128.
It's a chicken shit angle, but she's probably going to come in 128, 129.
Yep.
And she's going to feel real heavy on top. So I don't see her making the weight. And if she does make the weight, maybe I'm a little skeptical on it because she's probably going to suck herself out. But she does look shredded on Instagram, so she looks pretty shredded.
Good on it.
That's the one thing I was gonna say that I didn't say. Like, I want to see her at the weigh-ins. Like, if she looks depleted, I mean, it's not going to be good. But
she's got plenty of time to rehydrate. Plenty of time.
Yeah. Me personally, I hate seeing someone that I'm laying money on look fucking terrible at the weigh-ins. I know you got plenty of time, but sometimes it's just like if you don't get it in the first round and a half, usually you're fucking tired. But by middle of the second, third.
All right, let's move on. Sorry, let me go back to the thing. All right, we have a great fight here. We have Julio Arce taking on Andre Ewell. Marathon, I'll go with you first. What do you got?
Yeah, so back to the parlay with Eubanks. I didn't want to parlay Phillips. I wasn't comfortable doing that just because I think the line got out of control, so I opted to go with the prop. I went with the over 2.5 minus 200 in this fight to parlay with Eubanks. 5 of the last 7 for Ewell went to decision. He's known for going to decision. We probably get a greasy split here. Let's think of both guys' win angles. Ewell's is to stay on the outside and just use his boxing, right? Just kind of pump stuff out, volume, maybe get a split, probably not do much damage. And we've been saying all week, how does Arce look minus 200? He probably needs to wrestle. Yep. Probably needs to kick. He probably needs to implement some kind of leg kicking. Either way, you're burning time off the clock here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're good. Keep going.
Okay. But yeah, either way, I think time gets burned off the clock here. Both guys' win path to victory is kind of just to implement a game plan that burns time. So I don't think anyone's going to disagree that this fight probably goes to decision. So it's not really a hot take or it's a pretty simple prop in my opinion. So as far as the fight, I don't really rate either guy very high. RK is coming into a new weight class that he hasn't been in I think since 2016. So and you'll look good for the first round, and you'll think you have easy money on the dog, but then he starts to slow down. So maybe Ewell by decision. If I had to bet a side, I'd say Ewell by decision. I don't know what the number's at, but I'm sure it's really nice. So RK hasn't really shown any leg kicking game, and I don't trust him enough to go out here and spam takedowns. So I'd say probably Ewell decision, if anything.
Okay, cool. Notorious, what you got?
Yeah, I think that my best bet on this fight is that honestly I'm waiting for after round one to bet Arce, because I think Ewell is gonna win the first round at a pretty high clip. I think he's much faster, sharper, and he's always really good in the first round. But I think the pressure of Arce is gonna break him eventually. I'm not sure if it's gonna be a finish. I could see it going to decision. I could see it round 3 finish as well. But I think that's the bet that I want to bet is that after round 1, I'm gonna get plus money on Julio Arce, and I'm gonna bet him because he's probably gonna win. He's probably gonna lose round 1, but ultimately I think he's gonna win the decision or get a late stoppage here. So that's gonna be my pick.
All right, Mike, what do you got?
Me personally, I'm a little higher than Marathon is on Arce. I kind of like what he has. He's got very, very good striking. He moves his head pretty well. Dude has a nice straight left hand. I think he does have a kicking game, and that's one thing I saw on tape with Ewell is he's pretty bad against southpaws that have a good kicking game. Like his lead leg is right there for it to be chopped down. Similar to Notorious, though, I do like this fight as a live betting in a live betting perspective, because I think Ewell wins the round a good majority of the time. But I also like what he said as far as the third round. I think Arce will have a good opportunity to stop him in a third. Arce comes on, his cardio is good. Ewell's cardio is not good when he gets pressured. When there's a pressure fighter in front of him, his cardio is always toast by the third round. And we've seen it time and time again. I think he's been stopped twice in the third round already. He could have been stopped his last fight. Like, it was very close. I mean, he literally chopped his legs off and then, almost stopped him last fight. And then, Arce, I kind of see something similar. Like, he might lose that first round, but I think the leg kicks will eventually wear on him. He has a really nice head kick too. So me personally, I like a live bet on Arce after 1. I think you'll get a way better price than what he is right now. And then the round 3 prop, the plus 1,400, like I like it. Like Arce has, I think, 3 third-round stoppages in his career. And hey, Ewell's been stopped twice. It could have been 3. Might be 3 this time, to be honest.
Cool. Yeah, I completely agree. I like Arce here a lot. I do like Ewell. I do think that he has definitely grown on me. As a fighter, I was not that high on him when he first got to UFC, but he does have decent striking. I do think he has a lot of holes in his game, especially on the mat. I don't think he's good on the mat at all. I'm pretty sure he's a blue belt. And I do think Arce has some pretty underrated wrestling and grappling in general. I was kind of looking at Arce sub at plus 500 just because if you're getting Ewell down and you have a decent top game, he doesn't understand how to get up to his feet. He doesn't work for an underhook. He doesn't shrimp. He doesn't do any of that. And on top of that, how do you beat Ewell? You take away his length and his striking and his kicking game. You walk him down. You throw bombs. Arce kind of starts slow, but like Mike said, he does have good pressure. He's got good footwork. He has damn good boxing. I believe he was a Golden Gloves Golden Gloves boxing champion. You know, the dude is very, very good and very underrated, in my opinion. And I think that Ewell is not looking. I don't think he's that great off the back foot. Yeah, I do think that the live bet option is definitely in play if you do like Arce, but I took a little stab at his sub line, just because I do think that if he is getting his win condition, he is going to be grappling, and if he's grappling for an extended period of time, I think that him finding a sub is pretty likely. So that is my. But it's a good fight. I'm looking forward to it. I'm stoked to see Julio Arce back. It's been too long, in my opinion. All right, so we move on. We've got Jordan Williams versus Mickey Gall. Bryce, I will start with you. What do you think?
Yeah, so honestly, I don't really think much of Mickey Gall. You know, I don't really rate his game that much. I think his gas tank is terrible, and you know, people say that, you know, he won the round off Mike Perry. Like, the Mike Perry that he's fighting is the ghost of Mike Perry, you know, because that guy has been killed by Vicente Luque and Jeff Neal. So it's a different guy. And like, to me, like Jordan Williams, I think he's going to be able to touch him up. Like, I honestly do. And I know that Jordan has, gassed out in the last fight against Nasruddin. But I think there's like 2 head clashes and a nut kick that, like, I mean, definitely could have affected that. And also, I just don't think that Mickey Gall has a cardio advantage at all in this fight. So honestly, I think that, the Jordan Williams should be able to win this fight. I think he should be able to. I mean, he's not a bad, wrestler himself. I think he can stuff some takedowns. I think he could even get his own if he wanted. So yeah, I just think that the rifle guy is favored. I don't rate Mickey Gall, and I think that's gonna be my read, Jordan Williams. And I'm not sure if he's gonna get a finish, but he might not. So, but he's my pick.
Cool. Marathon, what do you think?
Hey, you muted.
Gotta flip your mic down.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Yeah, it's just a hard pass for me for both guys, just because. And plus, like, you can't really. I don't feel like you can make a play on this until you see the weigh-ins.
Yep.
Williams is a diabetic, and he is getting sickle cell treatments just to make this weight. So that is a little extreme to me. But I mean, Notorious touched on it. Mickey Gall's lost to the worst versions of Diego Sanchez and Mike Perry. And I just don't get, even at dog money, how you can bet him against anybody, because those are 2 of the biggest fades right now for sure. So how can you go bet Gall right now? So if I had to bet it, probably Jordan Williams, but I don't. Plus, I've been seeing some articles that Mickey Gall says he wants to add a few knockouts to his resume. I don't know if we saw that article, but he said that he wants to add some knockouts to his resume. So if he's not going to go in there and use his big frame, because the dude is pretty huge for the weight class, then he's pretty worthless, honestly.
Yep, agreed. I have no play here. I was kind of looking at Jordan Williams. I do like his game quite a bit, but I'm extremely worried about the weight cut. He fought at middleweight for a reason. Didn't like cutting weight because of his diabetes, and I think that's going to have like a significant impact on him here. Especially him gassing out in his fight was kind of an anomaly for him. But dropping down 15 pounds while you're a diabetic, it's just recipe for you gassing out again. I do think he has pretty big advantages everywhere, especially on the feet. The guy's got an iron chin. He'll walk you down. He'll throw bombs. He's got cardio for days. He has a decent wrestling. I'm not a huge fan of his top game, but the guy's a savage. He's got a lot of heart. I think he pretty much has Gall covered everywhere here. I'm not a fan of Gall at all. I think the UFC's just given him like some of the easiest matchups to try and win over the past like however long he's been in the UFC. He's won some, he's lost some, but you look at Matt Brown, George Sullivan, Diego Sanchez, Tuarita, whatever that guy's name is, and Mike Perry. I mean, those are just such bad matchups. I believe like the only good matchup that he's had really is against Randy Brown, in my opinion. So yeah, I was kind of looking at Williams, but I'm just gonna wait to see how he looks on the scales. Just because I'm so worried about this weight cut. Plus the line it hasn't really moved too much for me to like be like really worried about it. But I don't know, it's getting up there to -180. I don't really think I don't know. I'm not that comfortable laying it on the juice on that. So I'll probably just sit back and watch it in live bet. Um, but yeah, the pick for me is definitely going to be Jordan Williams. What do you think here, Mike?
Yeah, it's a hard pass for me. Like, yeah, Gall looked like he improved his striking last fight. Like, I'm not going to say no. Yeah, he looked a little better against Perry, but again, like Marathon said, that's like the ghost, of Mike Perry. He has good BJJ. Not sure if he's going to be able to actually take Jordan Williams down. Like, and if he's actually saying he wants to knock Jordan Williams out, well, it's not going to be good if he's going to be standing for 15 minutes with Jordan Williams, because I think maybe Jordan Williams is going to be able to put him out. But for me, in general, it's just a pass. Like, too many red flags, like him coming down, Jordan Williams come down to 170, being a diabetic, how is he going to look? How is his cardio going to look? It's just a pass.
Cool. Okay. We move on. This is a fun fight. We have Ian Heinisch versus Nazardine Imavov. I butcher all these guys' names, so whatever. I'll start. Yeah, I like Heinisch here. I don't really have a bet yet. I was kind of hoping the line would close a little bit because everyone is apparently thinking that Imavov is this massive value play. I personally don't think Imavov is that good. I don't like the fact I don't really like his wrestling. I'm not a huge fan of his fight IQ. He has decent striking, but I don't like when he is put off foot. He's way too easy to push against the cage and hold against the cage. You saw that against Haas. Heinisch, I think he definitely has a pretty big wrestling upside here. I know he doesn't really he attempts like a good amount of takedowns. I believe I had the numbers up here. But I'm gonna look into this real quick. I have the numbers on my phone, but he attempts a good amount of takedowns every single fight. So I think he's pretty reliable to grapple here. I think he's huge for the weight class. I don't think Imavov is gonna want to grapple with Heinisch here. Heinisch is very hard to hold down. He's very hard to sub. He's very strong. He has, his optics on the feet are good. He'll walk you down. He'll throw bombs. I just think he is like at the stage in their careers, he's a much better fighter than Imavov. And I think he goes out there and wins a decision most likely. But for right now, there's really no play for me. Marathon, what do you think? Got to put your mic down.
Yeah, I think it's Heinisch or pass, just because the blueprint's been put out on Imavov, what he can and can't do. The striking's serviceable. He's got decent striking, but it wasn't what it was all made out to be coming into the Haas fight. He was a very popular pick, and everyone was really high on his stand-up. Heinisch should just be able to push this dude up against the cage and get a decision, working some takedowns. But do I trust him to go out and do it? I don't. I think it's just recency bias for me because I had a big bet on him against Gastelum, and I feel like he was shooting when he shouldn't be shooting, which is really frustrating. But I actually haven't really seen anyone on Imavov. I feel like all the guys that I do respect, they're all on Heinisch. So the path to victory, he could definitely look way better than -150. So I don't hate that bet. But yeah, Imavov should just get pushed up against the cage. He doesn't have good fight IQ. He's not good at scrambling. So Heinisch should be able to put this dude on his back, probably grind him out. Heinisch is durable, big for the weight class. Yeah, I think Heinisch is definitely the side if you want to make a play here.
Agree 100%. Yeah, like Heinisch attempted 10 takedowns versus Omari, 9 takedowns versus Brunson. I mean, those are the type of numbers that you really want to see. 6 takedowns. He attempted 6 takedowns versus Gastelum. Against a guy that really doesn't have good wrestling. That's the numbers that you want to see if you want to see someone like having their path to victory being cage pushing and wrestling. So, just another number to throw out there. Mike, what do you think?
I actually like Heinisch a lot in this spot. At minus 150. I honestly think it's a gift of a line, to be honest. Like, yeah, Imavov has the better striking here. Like, but is Imavov going to be able to stop the takedowns? Like, absolutely not. Like, Heinisch, just looking at the level of competition. I mean, look at the drop. I mean, the drop in levels of fighters that he's been fighting down to Imavov is huge. Okay, that's one. The other thing you look at, and I looked at, is he was minus 160 against Derek Brunson, okay, a couple of fights ago. Now all of a sudden you're telling me he's only minus 150 against Imavov? Like, give me that all day. Like, he's gonna be able to take him down. He's gonna put him on his back. And another thing with Imavov is his fight IQ sucks. He's not smart. He easily gets put against the cage and just held there if Heinisch is to want to do that. And I don't see anything that Imavov has that can actually give Heinisch problems. Like, as far as him like stopping the takedowns or anything when he's on his back. Like, yeah, he has some decent striking, but other than that, I think it's a levels fight, and I think Heinisch has fought some of the best guys, and now he's dropping down to probably a guy that's somewhere down there in the 185 class, to be honest.
All right. Notorious, what do you think?
You're muted, brother.
You're muted.
Sorry. Yeah. So I was gonna say
you're
that I have no play on this one. I honestly don't really trust Ian in the beginning to attempt takedowns. Maybe I think maybe this could be a really good live spot as well. I think Imavov could be sharper early. I think he does have some good timing and some good striking, but I think over the 15 minutes, Ian should be able to get some pressure and takedowns in, and Imavov is not really good at that. But yeah, I think in the beginning it could be pretty close. So, and Ian is not the smartest guy to me, so it could be a little dicey. But ultimately, I do think he wins unless Imavov really hurts him on the feet and changes the direction of the fight. But if I had to pick, I would say 29-28 Heinisch in this one.
One more thing
Cool.
to add. Heinisch
Yeah.
Heinisch is trading out of Sanford now. Like, he moved. I know this guy jumps on a lot of gyms, but I read an article. Yeah, and I read an article recently that he just bought a house in Florida. He's more settled in. I also read that he was jumping from gym to gym and Airbnb-ing, believe it or not. Like, he didn't have a residence, basically.
God.
So that's what he was doing, dude. Like, that's crazy. Now he's settled down more. I think that it means a lot for you mentally too. He's settled down. He's married. He bought a house in Florida. He's training out of Sanford now. I think that means a lot. And I think Haas is from Sanford too. He fought Imavov. He might have something to tell him. Some pointers or whatever that can help him out. So I honestly think it's a great spot for Heinisch.
Cool. Yeah, agreed. All right, we move on. Great fight here. We have Puna Soriano taking on Brandon Allen. I'll start. I love Puna in this spot. I have 1.5 units on Puna at minus 110, and I have half a unit on his inside the distance line. I believe I got plus 145, I think. Yeah. I don't, Allen has lost me a lot of money, so maybe I kind of just underrate him a little bit, but like, I just really don't like his game. In all of his UFC fights, he's landed 5 takedowns in 6 UFC fights, and before his last fight, he only landed 3. Puna's got a very, very, very fresh base. He's a very, very good offensive and defensive wrestler. He's an All-American wrestler in college. He's very, very strong. He's a goddamn tank. And Allen, he's never attempted more than 3 takedowns in a single UFC fight. So like, and Puna's whole entire game is creating space so he can walk you down and land bombs on you. Just throw bombs. Like, his knockouts are just absolutely insane. He's on I believe his last 2 fights were ended by knockout. What's he gonna do with Allen? He's gonna walk him down. He's gonna throw bombs. He's gonna touch his chin. If Allen tries to clinch him, Puna, he understands the underhook battle in the clinch very, very well. He's gonna shuck him off him just like he did versus Dusko, and then he's going to get back at range and he's going to land, and a lot of Allen's opponents, Holland, God, and who the hell was the other guy that he just fought? Multiple of Allen's opponents have engaged in grappling with him. Oh, Dawkins, yeah, when they have a significant advantage on the feet. Allen he'll walk forward and he likes to get into these big striking exchanges, but he doesn't have the chin to do it, and he doesn't have the striking mechanics or the footwork or the head movement. And people were talking about like Strickland's knockout was based off accumulation. Strickland landed clean. Like that was a clean knockout. That was a solid knockout by Strickland. And you're telling me that especially while Puna's fresh in like the first like round and a half, that Allen is going to get takedowns here. Like the numbers don't tell me that, and neither does the tape, in my opinion. I think if you want to play Allen, I think you should live bet him maybe after the first round and a half. I do think Puna fights through his fatigue very well, and I do think that he can land takedowns here if he does fatigue, and if he puts Allen on his back, he's going to be playing to Allen's game. But Puna's got a very solid base on top. I think he can just chill in top half and main ground and pound. Like I'm really not that worried about him going into Allen's guard. He's not going to try and pass Allen's guard. He's just going to sit there and land ground and pound. Allen gets his sweeps and stuff when people try and pass on him. They try to pass them out. They try to go to side control. Puna's not going to do that. He's going to stay there and he's going to land bombs. He's going to land elbows. He's going to land nasty ground and pound. I just love Puna, and I think that his game, he's going to beat a lot of opponents in the UFC, especially if he gets his cardio. So yeah, I think personally Puna should be around minus 170 here. So yeah, I got both those bets here, and yeah, I hope they cash. Marathon, I know you got to play here, so what do you got?
Yeah, so I got 2 units on Soriano minus 108, and then another unit on his KO TKO prop at plus 200. Nice. Yeah, you kind of touched base on a lot of the key points. He's not going to get taken down here. He's a D3 All-American wrestler, and he's just kind of a freak athlete on top of that. He really is. Allen's kind of one of those guys who has really nasty jiu-jitsu, but he doesn't have the wrestling to bring it down there to use it. So that could be a big issue for him here, because what's one thing we know about Brendan Allen? He doesn't have head movement. He's got a 39% striking defense, and a lot of people are saying Soriano could gas here, but I've seen Allen slow down in fights too, man, and he gets really sloppy. So I'm not really too worried about that. Kyle Dawkins was hurting this dude on the feet, and that's nothing. That's nothing to be exactly. So yeah, Soriano definitely here. I don't see him playing around on the ground or anything like that. Like you said, he'll probably just sit half guard and drop bombs. But I don't think this fight goes very long, and the fight not to go to decision is probably pretty safe, because one of these guys is going to look dominant out there. One of them is going to implement their game plan, and they're going to get a finish. Soriano round 1 TKO KO prop, I don't know what it's at anymore. I'm sure it's been
plus 430.
Completely just – yeah, see, that's still pretty rich. Still pretty rich. Still pretty good enough for me to throw some lunch money on, because this fight could be over real quick, man. I think Puna's one of the harder hitting 185ers, and we just don't know it yet. So, like you said, that you line him minus 170. Well, guess what? The books opened him up minus 200. So this could be a side where Vegas got it right, and Allen
Vegas
got
loves
bet down.
Allen. They love Allen.
Allen's always the favorite on the openers, man.
Books love Allen.
That to me was a statement. That opener was a statement, and I think it was probably accurate. I lined Puna probably minus 180 here, so definitely all over Puna for sure.
Cool. All right, Mike, what do you got?
I'm a little on the opposite side here. Like I like everything.
Some contrarian takes.
Well, yeah, I love Puna's power. Like we all know, like he has devastating power. Like he's got really good wrestling. I agree with all that. Like, but we haven't really seen Puna in a dogfight, right? We've never seen him, Yeah, he went 3 rounds, I think, with Jamie Pickett on the Contender Series. He couldn't put him out, but like he just took Pickett down in that fight later on when he was kind of tired and just laid on him for fucking minute after minute. The thing with Brandon Allen, like he's been in dogfights, What's going on?
Sorry.
Oh. So he's been in dogfights. So like if this gets later, past the 7.5 minute mark, I really think that's going to be all Allen's world at that point. Like, I don't know about Puna's gas tank. Yeah, we don't know. Like, he's never been there. Like, he's never been in those dogfights, like I said. And I kind of disagree with you, Quinn. Like, I think he has a really good chin. Allen is not like some guy. Yeah, I know he got KO'd by Strickland, but man, he took fucking, I can't even tell you how many nice clean punches before he put him out. Like, so, like, to me, yeah, Puna early, I agree with you guys. Like, round one, and this again is going to be a really good live bet spot, to be honest, if you like Allen, because I think he's probably going to drop that first round a good amount of time. But I think past that 7.5 minute mark, I think it's going to be all Allen's world, and I think he gets a stoppage late, to be honest.
Okay, cool, man. Notorious, what do you got?
Yeah, it's a very very good matchup here. I would say that honestly, I can see both angles, to be honest. I think both guys have laid down their case pretty well. I think part of me does think that Allen is going to be able to survive the first round or whatever, and then just take over late. I do think he's going to have the cardio advantage. I really do. And I do think that he has that dog in him too. Like, man, he I don't know. I mean, he proved it to me a few times, honestly. And I'm not really shitting on Puna here at all. I think Puna is really good. I'm just saying, like, if it gets to that point where, both of them are tired, I would put my money on Allen being able to come through that and win me a round at the end. You know what I mean? So, but I don't want to get involved early. I think I want to see the first round, and I think there's a decent chance that Puna might hurt him really bad in the first round and might actually finish him in the first round. You know what I mean? But if he doesn't and Allen survives, then I might get involved if I get like plus 200 or better, and ride out that Allen ticket, because I think he can get a stoppage late or 29-28 for me. So that's what I think.
The other thing is
Okay,
we've never seen Puna on his back either. So, like,
yeah, true.
I mean, what does he do when he's on his back? Is he lost? Is he good? We know Allen's pretty good down there, so it might be somewhere that he's never been and going to be lost. I don't know.
Yeah, with the cut, yeah, I'm not even gonna put my comment in. You're right, 100%. All right, so we move on. Fantastic fight here. We got Adrian Yanez taking on Randy Costa. I have quite a few bets on this card. This ends my parlay with Cedar Eubanks at -133. I have fight doesn't go the distance at -270. I think that there's some massive value on that line. You could have gotten it. I think it opened up like around -200, -210. That's like pretty insane to me, considering, Costa's pretty much a kill or be killed fighter. Round one for Yanez is going to be pretty hairy. Costa comes out, he throws bombs, he pretty much throws the kitchen sink at his opponents, and he's surprisingly like extremely accurate with how chaotic and crazy his style is. FanDuel had an insane round one KO prop at a plus 950, I believe. I think I got in on it at plus 8 something. So I took a little bit of stab at that. That's definitely Costa's win condition here. There's definitely some issues with Costa, in my opinion. His cardio is not the best after a round and a half. I did not like how Brandon Davis was able to just take his back and submit him like so quickly. Like it was pretty much like effortless after Costa gassed out, and that's a pretty big red flag for me. Yanez, he's a black belt. I know he hasn't really used it too much, but I definitely think he can take advantage of that if it turns into a dogfight. Yanez is striking, it's absolutely fantastic. His counter game is very, very good. He's got a lot of power in his hands. And I definitely do think that if when they go to war, if he can survive that first round after Costa slows down and gasses, Yanez, he's going to crack him with a counter shot. So I also have a 1 unit on Yanez inside the distance at -120. So yeah, I'm definitely picking him to win. I love his game in general, but to be honest with you, like plus 950, plus 800 on Costa's win condition, and the guy hits hard as fuck. So I definitely think there is quite a bit of value on that line as a small hedge if you want to do that. So that's just my take here. Mike, what do you got?
I'm right there with you. Like, I love Yanez as a prospect, to be honest. Guy has really slick boxing, really, really good counters. A guy like Costa that's so super wild and just looping, a lot of looping punches. Yeah, he does have a lot of power, but he can also easily get countered. And if you go back and watch that Brandon Davis fight, Brandon Davis hurt him on the feet twice. He hurt Costa like striking twice, and Brandon Davis is not that big of a striker. You know what I'm saying? Like, now he's fighting this sniper in Yanez that has these great counters. Like, he has a lot of power himself. I think what you said is pretty accurate. Like it's Costa round one, and then Yanez thereafter. And I also don't think Yanez can definitely KO him in round one. Also, like catching him with a nice counter. For me, it's Yanez. I have him in some parlays. You can even go with maybe Yanez live. After one, he might lose that first round just because of how chaotic and crazy Costa fights in that first round. But again, his cardio, if he comes out and fights the way he shows on tape, his cardio is going to be absolutely gone after one. And we know how Yanez is calm and controlled in that ring. Like, the dude is so calm. I just think he's going to be able to easily take over this fight if it goes past one. So for me, the pick is it's Yanez all day for me.
Cool. Agree 100%. Notorious, what do you think? You're muted.
Yeah, I'm gonna be actually on a different side over here. I think that I got plus 190 on Randy Costa, a few units on that. It's not a fade on Adrian Yanez, by the way. I just want to get that out of the way because I do think Adrian Yanez is a good prospect. I just think Randy Costa is a good one as well. I mean, it's not I don't think it's his fault that he hasn't seen, past a few rounds. I mean, yeah, against Brandon Davis, that was a fight where I believe his friend just passed away and he was super emotional. And he went out there and tried to kill Brandon Davis. And I mean, he had some good moments. And then ultimately, Brandon Davis, he's a, pretty decent striker who is also bigger. And he was able to hurt him. And, that was it. He was able to put him away. But I think that Randy Costa has grown from that. I think Randy Costa is setting up his strikes pretty well to me. I think the one that he got Jordan Newsom with, it wasn't just like a random lucky strike. I think that was a pretty high level setup that he got him with. And I think that he's going to be able to be unpredictable enough where Giannis is not just going to be able to just walk him down like he was able to do with those other guys, because the ones that he was fighting with, like, I don't think those guys are like nowhere near the level of Randy Costa on the feet. Like, I really don't. And it's nothing to take away from Adrian Yanez. I just think this fight is going to play out a lot closer than the odds suggest. And I don't think that Randy Costa is only alive to win this in the first round. So I think I like my odds on this one. So that's my take.
Cool, man. Marathon, what do you got? Flip your mic.
Yeah, I'm on Yanez here. I got 2.5 units on him at minus 195. And I also sprinkled his KO prop at plus 150, I believe. Yeah, I just think his boxing is just a lot better, and Costa's going to be getting really chaotic on those entries, and I just see him getting caught here. Costa probably has 7 minutes to win this fight. It's a lot like the Poirier-McGregor where, there's an evident guy who's going to get better as the fight goes, and I love betting on that kind of guy for sure. Rounds 2 and 3, I think will be all Yanez, and he's a rhythm fighter, man. Like, if he can get in the rhythm on it with his striking here, he'll paint a picture on Costa, I think. But Costa the round 1 KOs around 800 plus 800. I think that if you want to go big money on Yanez, you can easily just sprinkle that and you'll be good. So, because Costa is getting underrated in this fight, I will say that he is really good, and we're gonna see some improvements here. He's been over at Sanford for a long time
that's what
now.
I thought. Yeah.
And he's coming in pretty shredded here. You know, like he just looks thicker, and he just looks like he's probably on a better nutrition plan, and he just looks thick for the division, dude. So I just think as the fight goes on, Yanez is a rhythm boxer, and as his hands, more combos he throws, the more like in sync he gets in there, man. He's I just believe in him as a prospect too. Like I just don't see him dropping this fight. He did go 5 on the regional scene with Miles Johns, who a lot of us rate pretty high too. And I think that'll definitely help him in the later rounds here. Costa's just he's kill or be killed, man, and I don't really like betting on those fighters. But I wouldn't mind, throwing much money on his round 1 KO prop just to be safe for those that are betting big on Yanez.
Agree,
One more thing,
100%.
real quick, Quinn. I got the under 2.5 in this fight at 175. It's such a good line, to be honest.
That's a good line.
Yeah.
That's definitely a good line. Okay, we move on. We've got Miranda Maverick taking on Macy Barber. Notorious, what do you got for us?
Muted.
Yep. I think it's actually a very, very good fight. I actually, like both girls, to be honest, as prospects to me. And I've been high on Miranda Maverick, and but at the same time, I think both of these girls, the fights that when they're winning, I think they kind of relied on their physicality, and in this fight, I think they can match their physicalities pretty much. And I do think that Miranda might win the first round at a pretty high clip because Macy, she's kind of a slow starter at times. And Miranda is a pretty fast starter. But I do think that Macy is the value side here. I think she's being underrated here. I think that she has the cardio advantage. I think she has that sort of like the Aspen-led ferociousness in her. You know what I mean? Like she might drop around, but like, the way she came back against Alexa Grasso was impressive because like she was eating a lot of punches in the first 2 rounds, and like she had nothing for Alexa Grasso, and like even on the ground where she got taken down. Well, like in the 3rd round, like she came back strong, like that was impressive to me. So I think that she's getting underrated here. I think she opened as a favorite actually, and Maverick was like plus 180 or something. So that's interesting, and it got bet down all the way to what it is right now. And I think value is on Macy Barber, and I wouldn't be surprised if she stops her late in the 3rd round. I think she's gonna have a cardio advantage here. So my pick is gonna be Barber in the 3rd round.
Cool. Mike, what do you got?
I think that both girls are pretty good. I agree with Notorious. Like, probably the value side is Barber right now at plus money, just because I think this fight is going to play real close. Maverick, actually, I don't know if you guys knew, but this girl freaking wrestled in high school on a men's team, believe it or not.
Oh.
Like, she's on a men's wrestling team in high school. But I just think both girls are pretty aggressive. Both girls are strong. I just don't see a big edge on either side, to be honest, just to lay any money on either side. So, but if you are betting this fight, I think I'd go Barber at plus money.
Yep, I agree 100%. Yeah, I think if you're betting aside, it's definitely a dog or pass on Macy Barber. I like Maverick. I definitely like her grappling and her wrestling. I like how aggressive she is in general, but there are some red flags. That Jillian Robertson fight was very, very competitive. Robertson definitely had her moments in that fight, and especially on the feet. Like I don't know if it was like Robertson's improvements on the feet or just the fact that Miranda, is kind of meh on the feet, but like Robertson was having success landing on her. Joshua was having success landing on her. And if you have watched Robertson's career, she's notorious for like being an absolutely terrible striker. You know, this girl does not like getting hit at all. You know, and she was swinging with Maverick in the pocket, and you know, with someone like Barber who's going to walk you down and throw bombs, she hits hard as fuck for the division. She's going to be in your face. She's going to be aggressive. Like, you know, she's definitely going to land on a Maverick here. I don't mind anyone taking a stab on Barber's KO prop. I believe it's at plus 500 here. But you know, also I don't really like how Macy has looked off of her back really. But I do think that she has faced the better level of competition. So I do think that this line should be flipped. So I do think there's a little bit of value on Barber. I think I'm just going to wait it out and play it, potentially play it live. There's just red flags on both sides for me. I don't really want to have my money either way. But the pick for me is going to be Barber. I think she gets Maverick out of there. Marathon, what do you think?
Yeah, I have 2 units on Maverick here, minus 130. I just think that Macy continues to be overvalued by the betting public, and I just don't like how she interviews. I think she's just full of herself. She's not gonna knock you out. She's gonna lose a decision. And Grasso is up 2-0, kind of just coasted in the third because she knew she was up 2-0. I just think Macy needs a KO here. Maverick's definitely going to be the stronger girl here. Maverick is ridiculously strong for being a woman. She can probably land takedowns. I don't think a switch to alpha male is going to shore up your takedown defense. We've seen it so many times where these people change over to alpha male and it doesn't really shore anything up. So I think she can land takedowns. She could probably win the exchanges at distance, and she probably has better cardio. I think she's a blue chip prospect. I think we see her in the top 5 probably right after this fight. So I'm gonna go Maverick. I don't think either girl gets a finish, but Macy could look just atrocious off her back and give something up. But I do think Maverick by decision's the play.
Cool, Mike. What do you got?
I already talked about it. It's a pass.
Oh, you
I'm
did?
Not betting. Yeah. I'm not playing either.
Okay. All right. We're gonna move on here. Great fight. We got Darren Elkins taking on Derek Minner. I'll start with you, Mike. What do you got here?
So initially, when I just looked at it, I'm like, oh, Minner's improved. You know, he went to James Krause and he improved his cardio and all this nonsense. But when you go back and watch that last fight against Rosa just like laid on his back, you know, didn't try to get up, like made it easy for Minner not to gas out, because we know Minner's notorious for gassing out in the first round. He goes for it, you know, he always goes for it in that first round. And now he's fighting a guy in Darren Elkins that doesn't slow down for 3 rounds. It's very hard to sub. Dude is, you know, it's just a tough guy to get out of there. I think Charles Oliveira is the only guy to ever sub this guy in whatever 40 fights that he has in the UFC. And to be honest, like this fight here, again, this is a good live spot for me, because I think Elkins is going to drop that round 1 most of the time here. And then I think he comes on late and even stops Minner later on in this fight, because I think the pressure is going to be too much for him. And eventually he's going to get to him, possibly in round 2, even in round 3. So for me, I have Elkins at plus 135.
Cool. Yeah, I like that bet. I like Elkins here too. I agree with all your points. You know, Minner's notorious for being round 1 or he gasses and quits. You know, granted, he is very dangerous in round 1. You know, the way he changes submissions together. And his striking has definitely improved. You know, and I have some red flags with Elkins, his age, him getting dropped multiple times by Ryan Hall. He's been in so many wars, but I definitely think that he has a pretty big cardio advantage here. He's got the experience edge. And I don't think he's getting subbed by Minner. I mean, Elkins is a damn good I don't know what belt he is. I think he's a black belt. He's a damn good grappler. He's very, very good on top. He understands positions very, very well. Like, I'd be pretty surprised if Minner just subbed him in the first round. I do and maybe that's me underrating Minner submission game, which I have in the past. Our friend Lags, he actually has a pretty decent bet on the fight ends by submission at plus 188. I think that's definitely worth a look. If Minner's gassed after the first round and Elkins just turns it up and pours it on him, I definitely think he could definitely get a late stoppage here. So I might look into that, but I don't really have a play right now. Like you said, Mike, I'm definitely going to be looking to live bet this spot after the first round, see if I can get Darren Elkins plus 200 or something like that. Like that would be awesome. So yeah, the play is Elkins here, but for right now, I don't have any play. I don't have any money on it. What do you think, Marathon?
Yeah, I got 2.5 units on Minner at minus 150. I just think he's the younger, fresher fighter. He's known for his finish ability, but we've kind of seen the leaps that he's taken with James Krause the last couple fights, and he put Charles on his back. Charles is a black belt. Kind of held him down there, stayed out of trouble, looked good. Cardio was cleared nice and good. Just seems like, James Krause is kind of changing this guy, because let's not forget, Dawson's one of Krause's guys, and what happened in that fight? Minner goes to Krause's camp right after that fight. He gassed out bad. Krause probably saw some potential in this dude, brought him over. Now we got this dude that's he's pretty well rounded, man. I mean, the cardio is definitely a question, but I just, I feel like we're doing ourselves a disservice as gamblers not cashing in on these shot old dudes who are on their way out. I like to cash in on, he's going to go on that skid. He's probably going to, be done here soon. I want to make as much money off of him as I can. So, I think we're seeing a guy coming into his prime at the best point of his career, and we got Elkins who's completely shot. Elkins is going to beat you if you don't know how to grapple. That's where he's at in his career. We saw that Gagori dude that they gave him absolutely shit, didn't know how to defend a takedown. What does Elkins do? He grinds him out, wins the fight. But Minner is a good grappler, and Minner's going to light this dude up on the feet. Elkins is going to get his face bloodied up. It's not good that never looks good for him from the specs part of it, We've seen Elkins win fights but lose a decision because he's so bloodied up. So I just think all signs for me point to Minner. I want to cash in on Elkins and on a lot of these old dudes who have taken a lot of damage. I want to make as much money, or at least fade those dudes as much as I can until they're gone. So play for me is Minner.
Cool. Notorious, what do you got?
Yeah, it's a complete pass for me, but in terms of the side, I can't really back Darren Elkins, to be honest. But I have to see that first round, to be honest, and see what happens in there. And if I want to bet that afterwards, I will. But I think the value that was there was under 2.5, which opened at plus 175, but now it's minus 105. And I don't want to bet that anymore. But I didn't see that early enough, so it was even plus 140 or whatever, but now it's completely gone. But, I can see different things happening there. But at some point, Darren Elkins, I think the wheels will fall off. It might be here, so who knows. So I don't want to bet him, but, if we'll see what happens in the first round, and then I might get involved.
Cool. Yeah, agreed. We move on. Great fight here. We've got Kyler Phillips taking on Rowland Paiva. I'll start. I have 1 unit on Paiva at I think I got plus 224. I just think this line is way off. You're telling me that Paiva is 39% in flight here. I don't think that is accurate. I think Paiva's finally coming up to his proper weight class that he should have been at a while ago. I think he can compete in the striking here. I think he's going to need to get off on his leg kicks here against Phillips, take away Phillips' movement, throw his 1-2 and his jabs over the top, stay at range, walk him down. Paiva's not going to be afraid to get into a dogfight on the feet here. And, we see Paiva have pop. I think that's going to come into play here, moving up in weight. Kyler Phillips, the improvements he's made from the Ultimate Fighter to here is just like pretty astronomical in my opinion. Like I was never really like that big of a fan of his until his last few fights. His grappling's gotten so much better. His striking is so much slicker. His footwork is so much better. His head movement, his cardio, everything. It's all gotten a lot better. But I just think that Paiva is kind of underrated in general by the books, and I think his skill set is pretty solid. I think he's a damn good grappler. I think that Phillips is probably not probably. Phillips is definitely a better wrestler, but I do think that pure submission grappling, Paiva is definitely better. If you go back and you watch that Kai France fight, which I think that was an insanely horrible decision, I had a bunch of money on Paiva there, and I was pissed that he lost that fight. He almost finished France multiple times. If he would have had 10 seconds left, he would have finished that mounted guillotine. Like 100% here. And if we have seen Phillips slow down, we know Paiva is going to be in there all 3 rounds, especially at 135. So I just think that he's going to make this fight like a lot more competitive than the odds indicate. And if he wants to get in a grappling match here with Paiva, he could land some ground and pound and hold him out on top. But man, Paiva's got some damn good submissions. He's got some damn good sweeps. He's a pretty high level brown belt. I don't know if I think he's a brown belt. He might be black belt now, but yeah, man, it's going to be a really good fight. I just like the value on Paiva's line, and maybe I'm a little bit biased because I'm a huge fan of his. But yeah, the pick for me is Paiva to pull off the upset. Marathon, what do you think?
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on this one. I think the line is way too wide. It's gotten a little out of hand, and I'm still seeing people lay it on the minus 280. It's almost minus 300. It is wide. It has got out of hand. You're telling me that he's going to look as dominant as Eubanks in this matchup. It's just not going to happen. There's not going to really be an opportunity for him to look as dominant as a minus 300 in Eubanks, unless he lands takedowns here. And even if he does, Paiva has a black belt in his back pocket. So I mean, Kyler minus 200 maybe I could see it, but I'm seeing some pretty hefty bets on him at this line, and I just think it's ridiculous because these striking exchanges are going to be pretty competitive, and we've seen Kyler slow down to the third. I'll put money on it. Paiva is the aggressor late in the fight. I will put money on it that he's the one coming forward. He has a good, solid kicking game. You want to kick the legs, and he does have a sneaky head kick. But to me, yeah, the line is just way too wide. I'd rather lay the money with Eubanks at minus 300 than Kyler, who's close to approaching that. So, if I had to put money on it, I'd probably say Paiva decision, which is probably pretty juicy. If you wanted to throw some lunch money on that,
400, I believe.
So that would be where I would probably play it because I don't see him finishing him. But I do think Paiva's the one coming forward late in the fight. We have seen Kyler slow down and drop third rounds before. So give me Paiva decision, some lunch money maybe. I don't hate it, but I do agree the line is outrageous, and he's just give me Eubanks as a parlay piece over Kyler in that price range all day because he's not going to have as many opportunities to look as dominant as she will.
Agree 100%. Notorious, what do you got?
Yeah, I got a unit on Paiva at plus 235. So
Paiva gang.
Well, I think I do like Kyler Phillips. It's not a fade on him. It's just a fade on the price, to be honest. I think it's ridiculous. I think Paiva is a lot better than what the odds suggest, I think the guys that Kyler Phillips was looking like the world beater against are not as good as Paiva. I don't think he's going to look as dominant. I think Marathon touched on it really well. I think that someone like Eubanks, is definitely going to probably justify the price way better than he is. So I think Paiva is going to look a lot better than what the odds suggest. So I had to take plus 235. I think that's the best price you could ever get on him in the UFC, right? I think, That's like, yeah. So, and I think he's gonna look better at 135 because it's not like he's a small guy. He had to cut a lot of weight. So, I think it's gonna be a close fight, and I'll take plus 235. So that's my take on that.
Sweet. Mike, what do you got?
I'm on the same boat with you guys. I got Paiva at plus 230. Like the line
Paiva
is wide.
gang.
Yeah, the line is way too wide. Paiva moving up is a great move for him. He's botched what I think 2 or 3 weight cuts in a row. Like he was 129 against can't remember who it was, ZZ Zimagulov, and then I think he was way overweight against Dvorak, so they cut the fight. And dude's just not made for 125. He's too big for that weight. I think this is a better weight for him. His cardio, I think, is going to be better at 135. However, like I do like Phillips a lot. Like I like his game. He looked really good in that Yadong Song fight. He kind of surprised me, like striking with Yadong, and he just outstruck him for 2.5 rounds or a little over 2 rounds. And then we saw Yadong kind of coming on late. I think if Yadong probably pressured a little early and threw a little more, it might have been a different fight. He didn't. But I mean, I can't. I like Kyler as a prospect, to be honest. But the line is way too wide. Like Kyler 170-ish, like okay. Like Marathon said, Kyler, almost approaching 300 now is kind of stupid in a closest type of fight, to be honest. I think it's going to be a really close fight. And if you're telling me you're going to get somebody at plus 230 in a close fight, you got to have to take it all day, So I got Paiva at plus 230.
And I
Let's
want
go,
to touch
Paiva.
on touch on something real quick before we move on.
Word, yeah, you're
We're all I bet we're all believers in Phillips as a prospect, so I don't want anyone to think that we're not. It's you don't bet the fighter, you're betting the price. The price when they get outrageous like this, you're not betting the fighter. Not every fight's a pick 'em. You can't just look at a fight and say, "Oh, I'm picking that guy." You don't pick the fighter. You're picking the number. And the number here, it's kind of a no-brainer. It's just me not betting Kyler or me not betting Paiva is my respect to Kyler. Does that make sense? Because I want to bet Paiva, but Kyler is good. So I just wanted to touch on that. You're not betting the fighter, you're betting the number. The number here is insane. And good. I hope you guys cash in on it.
Yep, agree 100%. Okay, so the co-main event between Aspen Lab and Macy Chiazon got canceled. So we're not going to talk about that. We'll move on to the main event. Corey Sandhagen taking on TJ Dillashaw. Mike, we'll start with you. What do you got?
I have Corey in some parlays. I just think there's a lot of question marks around TJ, like, coming off the USADA, guy's been out of the ring for a while. We don't know how much that really, affected him or actually helped him, we should say. The other thing is we don't know if he's actually back on that fucking thing again, to be honest, but we don't know. So that's a question mark. I just like Sandhagen overall. Like I think his striking is so much better. He's got, the kick game. I think the other thing is like, yeah, TJ could possibly take him down and stuff, but I think, those knees up the middle are going to be there for Sandhagen. And I think, even if they don't land and if he just attempts them and gives that, doubt to TJ that, when you shoot, you might catch a knee, that right there might, stop him from shooting as much. And I just think for as long as stays on his feet, I think he's going to just knock him out, to be honest. So I have Sandhagen in some parlays and not much else otherwise.
Cool. Yeah, so I have 1.5 units on Dillashaw. I don't have my thing pulled up here. I don't know exactly what line I got him on. But yeah, I like the plus money on TJ. I understand all of the red flags. Like I completely understand everything. I'm not a fan of TJ Dillashaw. I think he is a disgrace to the sport. I think he's been using EPO for a long time, not just to cut down to 125. I think he's still on EPO. If you look at his recent Instagram photo, it looks like his nipples can cut through ice. But who knows? Maybe he's not that much of an idiot. Yeah, I personally just don't see how you could be confident in Sandhagen with his lack of wrestling ability and his ground game and what Aljo did to him and what everyone's been able to do to him. He's been taken down in pretty much every single UFC fight besides one. Granted, he's won all those fights, but TJ's a damn good grappler. He's a damn good wrestler. I've been watching TJ's grappling videos for years. Like, the guy has a lot of talent. I think he can take a similar approach to the Lineker fight here. TJ also has pretty elite fight IQ. Like, he's very, very smart in the cage. He knows what he needs to do. He's talked about in interviews all week, and I know you can take a little bit from interviews, maybe not, but he's literally said, I have more ways to win here. I have more ways to win, more paths to victory than Corey here. And I think he's going to grapple. And if he does grapple, if he takes him down, he gets on top of him, he takes his back, I think he can implement exactly what Aljo did. I think he's just as good, if not better, on the mat than Aljo. And I think until Corey really shores up that part of his game, like, it's going to be hard to trust him against, like, the top fighters like Jan. I really think that he needs to go and work on that part of his game. So yeah, I don't want to be sweating a minus money ticket on Sandhagen if Dillashaw is landing takedowns here and working it from top. Granted, I do think that Sandhagen could knock him out. We've seen TJ get hurt multiple times. He's been off for 3 years. He might not be on the EPO anymore, so he definitely can get put out. But I personally, I like the plus money side on the snake, so I have money on Dillashaw here. Marathon, what do you think?
Yeah, I have a pretty hefty bet, 4 units on Corey minus 170. We don't really have to get too deep into the obvious about the layoff and the pop and all that, but it just comes down to almost a 3-year layoff. It's a 35. He's a 35-year-old bantamweight. I'm sure everyone in this chat has been fading older bantamweights for years now. It's just an easy betting angle that we've all used, and it doesn't matter if it's TJ or not. He's still, he's looking old in the face. We've been seeing it on Twitter all week. Does look old in the face. And you're giving me Corey at minus 170, and he gets 5 rounds to knock this dude out. He's eventually going to knock this dude out. Corey doesn't get controlled off his back. He's 7-1 in the UFC, been taken down in all those fights, and in the fights that he's been taken down in, he's only dropped one of them. And TJ and Aljo are 2 different archetypes of grapplers. TJ is gonna, if TJ lands a takedown, he's gonna sit in half guard. Aljo's a submission grappler. They're in no way comparable as far as grappling goes, and Aljo's. They're just 2 different kind of archetypes, man. So I don't really factor that in. It was really in the fight. I do like the under 3.5 here too. I do think someone's getting finished. I just don't trust. TJ's just coming off a long layoff. The sport's probably passed him by. He's a shell of himself now. And, I just think Corey has 5 rounds to put something on him. And this dude is just a sniper, man. He's so meticulous in there with how he fights. And, I just don't see. I see the betting angle for TJ landing takedowns, but I don't trust him to be able to control Corey. And even then, where's TJ's gas tank right now? Where's TJ's? There's just so many red flags with him. And Corey, I just feel like Corey has 5 rounds to find the shot. That's a lot of time, man. So. And like I said, TJ, Aljo, 2 different grapplers, 2 different archetypes. I don't even look at that fight when I'm looking at this fight. So give me Corey all day. I do like the under 3.5 too. I do think someone's getting finished here.
Cool. Notorious, what do you got?
Yeah, I think that the under 3.5 is a really good thing here. But I would take that. I do like Corey Sandhagen here. I do think that he is. I think he's just a kind of like a modern version of like mix of Dominic Cruz and TJ in a way, but like he doesn't really have that wrestling per se. But in terms of striking and footwork, that's what I'm talking about. And I think he's just a better version, and I think he's going to be able to. Just be too tricky for TJ. I think TJ, if he gets a takedown, I don't think it's going to be that dangerous for Corey. you know, I think he might get a few takedowns. You know, I don't. But it's not gonna be like with Aljo. You know, Aljo is a completely different beast. You know, and Aljo is way more physical too. You know, I think he's just physically stronger and gets to the back, and that's what he does. You know, and TJ is not gonna do that if he gets the takedown. So, and on the feet, I think Corey's just going to be way too tricky, and I think he's going to be able to land something that rocks TJ at some point, and then he's going to put him away. I don't know, maybe second round. That's what I'm going to say.
All right.
To what both Marathon and Notorious said, like I know, Quinn, you said like TJ is a better grappler. Like, yeah, probably wrestling, maybe, but like he doesn't have anything on the ground to really like Aljo's very dangerous when he's on top of you, you know, getting your back.
You're right. I agree.
Like TJ doesn't. I don't think he has those threats for Corey. So I think it's going to be so much easier for Corey to stand up in this fight when he gets taken down than against Aljo. You know, like Aljo, like you got to be really careful trying to get up, you know, because he's going to slide the hooks in, you know, get to your back, whatever, you know. So that's the big difference, I think, between Aljo and TJ in this fight. Like, yeah, he might land the takedowns, but what can he do with those takedowns?
Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a great fight. I'm stoked. This card is absolutely fantastic. It's going to be great. We're an hour and 21 minutes in, so I'm going to wrap this up. You can follow me on Twitter at Orthodox1993. You can follow Mike at NaroCop. You can follow Notorious Picks at Notorious Picks, and you can follow Marathon MMA at Marathon MMA. We'll probably be back next week. I haven't exactly decided yet. I'm not a biggest fan of the fight card, but if Marathon wants to do next week, I'm down. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. Good luck, everyone, and I hope you guys catch some bets. Have a good one, guys.
Take care, guys.